Part 155. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 1541. Chapter 1541 The Adventures of Little Mickey 2. Little Mickey was lying on the back of the elephant, and his nose seemed to really smell the meaty aroma of Tiananmen's pork ribs. But this time, Mommy cooked grilled pork ribs. If you sprinkled some cumin, it would be even more perfect. I want to eat it so much that my mouth is watering. So greedy. Why is this fragrance becoming more and more realistic, as if there is a real fragrance wafting in the air? Isn't it because he is too hungry and imagines it? Little Mickey looked up and looked around in confusion, his pupils dilated instantly, and he looked at them in shock. Oh my God, is this a tribe? Not far in front of Little Mickey, there is a large tribe. The tribe is very backward. The houses are all made of mud, and the roofs are just simple stacks of hay to protect them from wind and rain. In a square, there were several dark-colored humans, roasting meat around a fire, and a few women were singing to celebrate having meat today. These black men wear very little clothes, and their basic parts are exposed to the air. Looking at the tightly wrapped clothes, they are even more different from them. Moreover, these people's skin is very dark, as black as his hair. Little Mickey's skin color has inherited Tiananmen's fair complexion, so even among a group of white children, he will not stand out. Little Mickey lay on the back of the elephant and looked at everything he saw in shock. It was all too new for him. He had seen these scenes in photos before. As a book lover, he had some knowledge of backward Africa and probably knew that there was such a place. If it were other children, they might even think they had encountered a monster. Little Mickey was shocked for a long time. Looking at these people, he felt happy at the same time. He finally saw humans again, so there was hope that he could return to his parents. Little Mickey sat happily on the elephant and waved his hands. Hello. The black people gathered around the fire heard heavy footsteps and strange shouts, and all turned their heads to look at the source of the sound. There was a little black girl happily pointing to the elephant mother and her son not far away. Mom, it's Blue and they are back. The black mother looked over with a smile, but when she saw Little Mickey waving at them on the back of the elephant, they all stood up in shock and looked at Little Mickey warily. What kind of creature is that? Why bye-bye, looks similar to them, but not like them. Little Mickey didn't notice the vigilance of these black people. He came near them with a smile and waved his hand, patted the little elephant on the back, and got off the little elephant. Hello. Little Mickey spoke in Mandarin, but felt that something was wrong. They didn't understand French, so he spoke in English, and found that these people were still looking at him warily. Mom, what is this little white man talking about? He is mumbling and I can't understand a word. The little black girl looked at Little Mickey in puzzlement. This white creature seemed to be very similar to them. I don't know, Jim, go and ask the chief to come over and find out what this is it a human being? It can't be a monster. It's the first time I've seen such a strange creature. The little black girl became more curious and couldn't help but get closer to Little Mickey. Daughter, don't go there, it's dangerous. Why is it dangerous? This little guy is so small and has no lethality. Little Mickey is only 3 years old and not very tall. He would be just like a baby in a big city, not to mention that he looks even smaller among these tough black tribes. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 1542. Chapter 1542 The Adventures of Little Mickey 3. Little Mickey tried his best to smile kindly, almost crying in his heart. What should I do? They don't seem to understand what I say. He had learned a word or two about the African language, and he tried to speak a few words. The group of people in front of him finally seemed to understand what he said, and at the same time they showed surprised expressions. Little Mickey is also as gifted with languages as Tianyuman. After switching between many languages, he finally spoke something that these people could understand. It's just that, little Mickey was embarrassed because he just said hello, and he could only speak two such words, one was a greeting and the other was a self-introduction. Hello, my name is Little Mickey. Little Mickey, the little black girl understood what Little Mickey said and approached him happily. Mommy, he understands what he said, so he is not a monster. The little girl Gina is only an 8-year-old child. She is curious about many things. Because of her curiosity and lack of fear, she is bolder than other adults and walks up to Little Mickey. Little Mickey looked at Gina coming over with some annoyance, and he didn't know what to say. Hello, my name is Gina, what are you, why is your skin white? Gina reached out and grabbed Little Mickey's hand, curiously touching Little Mickey's skin to see how this wonderful creature, like her, was a human being. But her skin is white, and she is so beautiful, more beautiful than all the children in their tribe, and her eyes are so big and charming. The clothes on their bodies are also very strange. There are so many of them. Their clothes basically surround the steps and chest. This little guy is wrapped tightly. This little guy should be only 1 or 2 years old. Such a small one, so cute. Although Little Mickey couldn't understand what Gina was saying, he could guess what she meant from his movements, but he didn't know how to answer. There is a language barrier, what should I do? Little Mickey's sad expression made Gina hold his hand distressedly. Little Mickey, what's wrong with you, why are you so sad? I miss Mommy. Little Mickey held his mouth sadly, but they still couldn't understand his suffering. At this time, the chief walked towards them slowly, leaning on a cane. Chief, look here, there is a white child, Gina's mother said. The chief came over, glanced at Little Mickey, and then said in surprise. This is an Eastern child, how come it appears in our tribe? The chief is naturally knowledgeable and has traveled outside the tribe, so he still knows more than other tribesmen. The place where Little Mickey comes from is a very backward place. Countless people have lived here for generations and have never left. There has never been a white-skinned human like Little Mickey. They also know very little about the outside world. They live in a small closed world and live in their own world. Hearing the chief's words, everyone finally understood that these were people from the Far East and did not belong here. Kid, why are you here? Little Mickey still didn't understand what the chief said and felt a little annoyed. The chief also changed to the African language of the more developed areas, but Little Mickey still couldn't understand it. It was like listening to a Bible. His mood also became very low. This place was so backward and dilapidated. What should he do to leave this place? After failing to communicate with them for a long time, Little Mickey gave up, holding his knees sadly and crying. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dowby in the World. Chapter 1543. Chapter 1543 The Adventures of Little Mickey 4. Does he want to stay in this ungrateful place for the rest of his life? Will he never see his parents again, eat delicious food, or go to beautiful places? This is a very backward place in Africa. Let alone mobile phones, there is no signal. It is impossible to call my parents. There is no means of transportation here, and the only means of transportation is the elephant that just brought him here. This place is even more backward than he imagined. It is so backward that even as an adult, he may not be able to get out. What's more, he is still a child now and has no way to leave. Little Mickey suddenly appeared, causing the entire tribe to watch. Everyone came to look at him as if they were seeing something strange. Fortunately, these people were not cruel, and he was glad that the tribe he visited was not a terrible tribe that could eat people. Everyone is very kind to him, gives him food and drinks, and sometimes chats with him, but he doesn't understand. Such a strange environment made little Mickey hide in fear, not communicating with them, thinking about Jian-Yuman and the others every day, and wondering when they would come to find him. Even thinking that they might not come to him, he broke down and cried. He has always been a cool little brother, cool and doesn't like to cry. He can count the number of times he has cried on both hands. But in this unfamiliar environment, he burst into tears several times. The young mind, faced with a strange environment, still showed the mentality of a child. Little Mickey wanted to leave, but there was no way. He couldn't even understand what they were saying. But he understands that as long as he survives, there is always a chance to leave here. Or when he grows up, with his intelligence, he will one day grow up, leave here, and return to his parents. Little Mickey is still living in a backward African tribe, while the Tang family in City S is undergoing tremendous changes every day. Jian-Yuman woke up from a coma and looked blankly at Tanyuj sitting next to her. Husband, I dreamed that little Mickey was back. Has he come back yet? Take me to see him quickly. Jian-Yuman held Tanyuj's hand with a bright smile. Her beautiful peach blossom eyes were waiting for Tanyuj eagerly. Nod. Jian-er, little Mickey hasn't been found yet, Tanyuj said guiltily. No, the smile on Jian-Yuman's face froze instantly. My little Mickey. Jian-Yuman shook her head sadly and threw herself into Tanyuj's arms. Husband, why haven't we found little Mickey yet? That's our only son. I miss her so much. Hey, it's me who is useless as a father. Husband, woo woo woo. Jian-Yuman lay on Tanyuj's hand and cried sadly. Tanyuj patted her back gently and comforted her. Don't be too sad. The doctor said you shouldn't have too many emotional ups and downs during this period. No matter what, you must take good care of your health for me and for little Mickey. But I'm sad. Even if you don't do it for me, you still do it for the child in your belly. What if you get fetal gas again? Jian-Yuman pushed Tanyuj away in shock and thought in annoyance that she had guessed that she was pregnant before. Because of the disappearance of little Mickey, she was immersed in sadness every day and forgot to go to the hospital to check whether she was really pregnant. The reason why she fainted before was because of fetal movement. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 1544. Chapter 1544. Another trouble one. She is truly a failure as a mother. She did not think highly of little Mickey, and now the child in her belly is still protesting against her mother. Jian-Yuman's hand trembled slightly and placed it on her lower abdomen. We have a baby again. Yes, 1 month, you were pregnant when we were at the resort. Tanyuj's eyes also became gentle, and his hand covered Jian-Yuman's. Originally, the arrival of this child would make the family happier, but unexpectedly, little Mickey was kidnapped and has not been found so far. He would rather hope that this time it was someone who kidnapped him, or someone called him and wanted to take the opportunity to extort a large sum of money from him. This would be something to be thankful for, because as long as he spent money, he could get the child back safely. Rather than like now, I didn't see his misfortune and couldn't find his people. Looking for a needle in a haystack, I didn't understand the meaning of these words for the first time. Originally, there are some objects on little Mickey's body that have the same positioning as Jian-Yuman's body. The other party seemed to have spotted it, and he didn't want them to find it, so he destroyed the things long ago and didn't know where to throw them. To find his son, it may be necessary for him to implant chips in the children and important people. At least it is not like now. He doesn't know where to find his son. Husband. Jian-Yuman grabbed Tanyuj's hand and leaned into his arms. Don't blame yourself. You always comfort me. You see, you can't even comfort yourself. You must be more stressed than me. I am a man, your husband, the father of little Mickey and Ruru. When little Mickey had an accident, for the first time he thought that I was a failed father and a failed husband. In the past few years, you have always made me suffer by my side. There are always many hardships that test us. I thought there would be no more hardships, but I didn't expect that God still doesn't want to let us go. Tanyuj felt depressed when he said this. Since childhood, he has always been teased by fate, and no one around him has a good outcome. Okay, we are going to be mom and dad again soon. We need to encourage each other and stop feeling sorry for ourselves, Qian Yuman said with a smile. Being a mother again made her think about a lot of things. We will definitely continue to look for our son, no matter the cost, but we have agreed not to blame ourselves anymore. It is not our fault. Okay, Tanyuj nodded with a slight smile. Now you are thinking about raising your child well. I am responsible for looking for your son outside. I don't believe that I could turn the whole world upside down and still not be able to find him. What's more, if he can't find it, can't he deceive the real culprit behind the scenes and then press for questioning? Finding a needle in a haystack is the most hopeless method. They have many other methods, but they don't believe they can't find their son. Good. You have a good rest. I'll ask Aunt Zhang to come and take care of you. You go and do your work, just remember to come see me every day. Kindness. The two looked at each other deeply and encouraged each other. At this moment, a phone call suddenly came in, disturbing their rare silence. Brother, it's not good, something happened to Xingai, Yang Yanliu said with a choked cry. What happened to Xingai? Tanyuj stood up suddenly and clenched his hands into fists. What's going on? Yang Yanliu kept crying and couldn't even finish a sentence, but Tang Wentao next to her took away her phone. Son, come to the hospital quickly, Xingai is in the emergency room to rescue you. Little Mickey, Daddy and Mommy, don't be affectionate anymore. Your son is in a place where birds don't poop. He doesn't even have electricity. He can only slander him at night. Woo-hoo-hoo, he's back to the primitive tribe. Your Majesty, it's stuck so much that Your Majesty doesn't want to update it anymore. This way, you can actually continue to update it. But, I just want to trap you. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 1545. Chapter 1545. Another trouble too. Xingai is being rescued in the emergency room. These words were like a heavy hammer, hitting Tanyuj's head hard. Tanyuj's face turned ugly, and he was actually being rescued at the hospital where they were. Tang Xingai had just been sent to the hospital for rescue, and the situation was very critical. Mr. Tang, what's wrong? Hang up the phone. Tanyuj's face looked ugly. He looked at Qian Yuman and hesitated to speak. You have a good rest here, I'll go out for a while. Qian Yuman still wanted to ask more questions, but finally gave up. Go ahead. Qian Yuman was also considerate of him and understood that he didn't want to tell her what was going on and make her worried. Something happened in Xingai, and I don't know what happened. She is still waiting in the room for Tanyuj to come back. Now she needs to relax and focus on raising her baby. You have a good rest. Tanyuj rubbed Qian Yuman's head and turned to leave. Tang Wentao called just now and said that Tang Xingai was in a car accident. The driver of the bus that hit him escaped on the spot, and the front of Tang Xingai's car was dented. His life was still serious and he did not die on the spot. He was sent to the hospital for emergency treatment. Yang Yanliu and Tang Wentao were not as quick as Tanyuj to arrive at the door of the emergency room, and they were still on their way there. After learning about Tang Xingai's accident, he immediately called Tanyuj to inform him. Tanyuj came to the door of the emergency room and happened to meet the doctor coming out of it. Doctor, how is my brother in there? The doctor glanced at Tanyuj, frowned and said. Are you the family member who was sent here from the car accident just now? Yes, I am his brother. Are you also of type of blood? Our blood bank does not have enough type of blood. I am, draw my blood. Tanyuj left with the doctor to draw blood, and asked the doctor to draw a lot of blood. Tang Xingai's bleeding volume must have been too large, and even drawing his blood would not be enough, so he called Tang Feishan and Tang Xinglu and asked them to hurry up. Come here and ask your subordinates to collect plasma from other hospitals. Tang Yuzh's face was a little pale due to the blood draw, and he sat on the bench and waited. Tang Xingai's condition was a bit bad and he might stop breathing at any time. When Tang Wentao and Yang Yanliu rushed over, they saw Tang Yuzh rubbing his forehead with a headache. Yuzh, how is Xingai? Tang Wentao said. Tang Yuzh glanced at Yang Yanliu and shook his head helplessly. The situation is very bad. My brother is still being treated inside. The doctor asked us to be mentally prepared. The chance of survival is less than 30%. What, 30%? Yang Yanliu's legs went weak, her eyes rolled back and she fainted. Tang Yuzh helped her and sent her to the ward to rest. It was rare for father and son to sit together, but they didn't expect that something happened to Tang Xingai. How did you get into a car accident? Tang Wentao said hoarsely. It was said that the driver was driving drunk, and there was still a bottle of wine in the car, but the driver had already left. How could such a thing happen? Tang Wentao covered his face with his hands sadly. The Tang family has not been at peace recently, and what happened to Tang Xingai made Tang Wentao look much older instantly in the past few days. First, the eldest grandson disappeared in an accident, and then the youngest son was rescued in the hospital. He might leave them forever at any time. Tang Wentao faced so many things at once for the first time. No matter how strong his heart was, he couldn't accept it. Besides, he was no longer young, and his blood pressure suddenly went up. Don't worry too much, Xingai will be fine. There will be more later, His Majesty ordered spicy crayfish. Wakaka. I'll write after I finish eating. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 1546. Chapter 1546. The danger of the Tang family escalates. Don't worry too much, Xingai will be fine, Tang Yuzh comforted awkwardly. Having a direct relationship with Tang Wentao, I was still in an awkward position. Seeing him sad, I couldn't help but comfort him. Tang Feishan and Tang Xinglu came later and immediately donated their blood to provide fresh blood for Tang Xingai's surgery. The waiting time was extremely long. Everyone in the Tang family was waiting outside. Naturally, they did not dare to tell Grandma Tang about this, for fear that she would not be able to bear it. Tang Yuzh was still a little weak at the moment because he had a lot of blood drawn. He stood up, walked to the middle of his family, and looked at them. I have something to announce. Everyone looked at Tang Yuzh in confusion. Don't you think this incident in Xingai is very strange? Everyone was silent and thinking, and Tang Yuzh spoke again. Is it really such a coincidence? First, little Mickey suddenly disappeared, and now Xingai has a car accident. If we include what happened to Lulu before, are the frequency of accidents in our Tang family too high recently? Brother is right, there are indeed too many things that happened during this period. Tang Feishan couldn't help but began to think deeply. Are these really coincidences? It's a coincidence that these three things that we don't want to close all happened within 1 month. Is it really just the Tang family that has had bad luck during this period? In addition to the previous tragedies involving Lu Rong and Tang Xinglu, everyone in the Tang family was in bad luck during this period. Tang Yuzh continued. At first I thought Lu Liu's matter had nothing to do with this incident. Yesterday I went to see Xingai's classmate again, and she repeatedly said that she was wronged and did not want to bury Lulu alive. So I couldn't help but wonder, is it someone deliberately framed her, and there was a pair of hands behind the whole thing? The purpose is to disrupt, retaliate, and attack the Tang family. Even that person's purpose is to destroy the Tang family. What happened in Xingai today may not be the end, but the beginning. In the future, it is very likely that our Tang family will continue to create countless crises by those behind the scenes. What? How could we have the Tang family offended someone? Tang Xinglu flinched in fear, thinking of what had happened to her. It's very possible, and the other party is very patient and his methods are very clean. He cut off almost all the clues related to him, leaving us unable to find it. Then he used a bunch of seemingly reasonable but unlucky things to keep telling him. Happened to our Tang family. Tang Yu's words made the Tang family think deeply and fearfully. Is there really someone who wants to bring down the Tang family? This person is so mysterious that even with the strength of the Tang family and Tang Yuj, they have not been able to investigate and prosecute the murderer. How powerful an opponent is to be able to do it so cleanly, to the point of being frighteningly clean. Tang Yuj took a deep breath. So in the future, before I find the enemy hiding in the dark, I will send bodyguards to protect you. Avoid going out alone in the future, and avoid all their tentacles reaching out to our Tang family. This is the only thing he can do now, to protect his family who are still doing well. If something happens to anyone again, the Tang family will fall apart. He will never allow this kind of thing to happen, and will not allow that vicious person to hurt his family again. Fei Shen, come here, I have something to tell you. Tang Yuj called Tang Feishan away and chatted with him for a long time about how to protect the Tang family together. Your Majesty has been ambushing this big crisis for a long time, ha ha ha. Starting from the first time Manman was kidnapped by a mysterious man. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 1547. Chapter 1547 The Terrifying Promise Organization. Fei Shen, regarding this matter, I actually already have a direction from the enemy's side. Yes, who is it? Tang Yuj looked deeply into the distance. It's no accident. It's the boss of the Wuji organization. Apart from them, there is no organization that can do things like this. I can't find it at all. I thought at first that his target was me and Jian'er, but now it seems that the purpose is our entire Tang family, and I am just the beginning of it, and now we are officially getting to the point. Is there nothing we can do? Are we waiting passively for them to find us? The Wuji organization is a mysterious and troublesome existence. His organization members are all over the world and from all walks of life, and almost all elites in each industry will join. I have never had any friction with them in the past. I didn't expect that their sharp claws would reach out to the Tang family and they would definitely destroy the Tang family. The Wuji organization has always been in the dark, and it is very difficult to investigate them. He has asked several friends to help, but the situation is still very bad. The Wuji organization's people are too large and scattered. Even if they retaliate, they will not be completely severely damaged. He didn't know where the Tang family had offended them, and they needed such revenge. If there is any friction, you can sit down and have a good chat, and you can even negotiate terms, but the other party will remain unmoved. Fei Shen, we can't be so passive anymore. We can't find them, so why can't we let them come to us? A confident smile appeared on Tang Yuz's lips. The only way now is to deceive the real culprit behind it and hide it in the dark. Then trick them all into the sunlight. This is the only way now. The two brothers talked for a long time, returned to the outside of the operating room, and continued to wait for Tang Xingai to survive. The wait was long. After Yang Yanlia woke up, he was waiting for Tang Xingai at the door of the operating room. But while waiting, his tears kept falling. Yang Yanlia was very sad. They finally had a better relationship during this period. Why did they have to go through life and death twice in a month? Was God playing a trick on them? The operation lasted for nearly 3 hours, and finally the doctor came out of the operating room. The doctor's expression was a little serious. The moment Yang Yanliu saw the doctor coming out, he rushed over, took the doctor's hand and asked anxiously, "Doctor, how is my husband? He's fine, right?" The doctor took off the mask on his face, but his expression was still tense. When he saw a group of people looking at him, he relaxed and nodded slightly. The patient is temporarily out of danger, but he still needs to be observed in the operating room for 48 hours. This car accident was so serious that he almost couldn't be rescued. As for the sequelae, I can't guarantee it. You'd better be mentally prepared. Yang Yanliu nodded, holding onto the wall with a weak body. As long as you survive, it'll be good. As long as you survive, as long as you survive, any sequelae will be nothing. Great, my brother is fine. Tang Feishan breathed a sigh of relief. In the past 3 hours, each of them had been nervous, fearing that the doctor would come out and declare death after ineffective resuscitation. After Tang Xingai was pushed out of the operating room, he was sent to the intensive care unit. He stayed there for 48 hours. Only after it was determined that his condition would not worsen, he was sent to the intensive care unit for further recovery. Even if the recovery goes smoothly, it will take at least 3 months for him to fully recover. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 1548. Chapter 1548. The only happy event for the Tang family. The situation was so bad this time that it almost cost Tang Xingai his life. Using the best doctors in the country might not even have a 30% chance of survival if he didn't immediately call in expert doctors. Fortunately, everything was a false alarm. I'm going to see Grandma. Tang Xingai's side is okay for the time being. He wants to see Grandma Tang. Grandma Tang fell ill after learning about little Mickey's accident and has been living in the same hospital to recuperate. Let's go there together, Tang Wentao said calmly, walking towards Grandma Tang's ward. Tang Feishan also followed, leaving Tang Xinglu and Yang Yanliu to accompany Tang Xingai outside the intensive care unit. Yang Yanliu insisted on staying, and when Tang Xingai woke up, no one forced her to do so. They tried their best to spend time with Yang Yanliu and wait for Tang Xingai to wake up. The 3 men from the Tang family came to the door of Grandma Tang's ward, knocked on the door and went in. They saw Grandma Tang holding a photo frame of little Mickey and crying sadly. "Mom, we are here to see you." Tang Wentao put away his sad expression and walked into the room with a smile. They didn't dare to let Grandma Tang know about Tang Xingai's car accident. They were afraid that she would not be able to accept it for a while because she was old and would pretend to be fine and appear next to Grandma Tang. Grandma Tang looked up, saw Tang Yuge, and waved excitedly. "Xiao Yuer, have you found little Mickey?" Grandma Tang looked at Tang Yuge expectantly. Tang Yuge's words were choked in his throat, unable to speak, and he finally shook his head helplessly. "My great-grandson, where are you?" Grandma Tang murmured sadly as she hugged the photo of little Mickey. "This little guy has been sensible since he was a child. When he was only 3 years old, he already knew how to make me, an old woman, happy. He was so good at playing chess that he could let me off the hook. How could such a smart kid just disappear after saying he was gone? Grandma, I really miss you. What kind of would take such a cute child away from his family?" Thinking of every move and thing that happened to little Mickey, Grandma Tang was so sad that she burst into tears. Tang Wentao's eyes were filled with tears at Grandma Tang's shouting. Tang Wentao, who also dotes on little Mickey, is also in a depressed mood. Little Mickey is so sensible, and often talks about Tang Yuge's affairs in front of him. He once even patted his chest and said that he helped his grandfather and father get back together, and he often came up with some bad ideas for this purpose. Although the effect is not good, the dedication is the most important. After little Mickey's accident, except for Tang Yuj, he spent his time searching for the missing person. Tang Yuj sighed silently, walked to Grandma Tang, took out a handkerchief and wiped her tears. "Grandma, don't be sad, little Mickey will come back safely. But I miss my great-grandson so much. How about I tell you some good news and be happy?" Tang Yuj said in a relaxed tone. "What's the good news?" "Things are getting better with little Mickey. The eyebrows are a little bit different, but it's another thing, the latest happy event of the Tang family." Happy event? Everyone's eyes were turned to Tang Yuj, especially Tang Wentao and the others. They knew clearly what happened to Tang Xingai, and they didn't think there would be any happy events for the Tang family now. Tang Yuj said with a smile, "I'm going to be a father again, and my wife is 1 month pregnant." "What, Xiao Manor is pregnant?" Grandma Tang was stunned. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 1549. Chapter 1549. The Tang family thanked guests behind closed doors. Tang Yuj nodded and said happily, "Yes. Qian'er is pregnant, I just learned about it this morning." If too many things hadn't happened in the Tang family recently, the news of Qian Yuman's pregnancy would have definitely made the entire Tang family immersed in the joy of having a baby immediately. There will definitely be an atmosphere of happiness, and Qian Yuman will be offered to everyone like a treasure. It's a pity that the timing of her pregnancy was so unlucky. Everyone has too much time to take care of themselves, and no matter how big a happy event is, it will be greatly discounted. The tears that Grandma Tang had managed to stop fell again, but this time they were tears of happiness. Okay. Xiao Manor is pregnant, and I'm going to be a grandma." Grandma Tang nodded happily. She had been expecting Qian Yuman to be pregnant again for a long time, but thinking of missing little Mickey, Grandma Tang shed tears of sadness again. When will she find her sweetheart? Although a lot of things happened in the Tang family during this period, Qian Yuman's pregnancy still brought some joy to the Tang family. Grandma Tang's body recovered much faster because of this happy event. The happy event always improved the atmosphere of the Tang family. Qian Yuman was discharged from the hospital to nurse her baby, and Grandma Tang was also transferred home from the hospital to recuperate. Qian Yuman and Ruru were also living in the Tang family during this time. She had been grounded because of her pregnancy. Not to mention that it was dangerous outside now, so it was safer at home. During this period, almost everyone can go out less if they can. Even so, the Tang family was still a little uneasy. For example, Tang Wentao was pushed inexplicably, and then sprained his foot and was recovering at home. When Tang Xinglu went to class, she would encounter strange things out of nowhere. She always felt like someone was following her secretly, which made her afraid to go out and asked for leave directly at home. Only Tang Yuj and Tang Feishan were mostly busy investigating things outside and did not go home. On this day, Qian Yuman, who was almost bored at home, called Qi Lili to Tang's house. Qi Lili was a little resistant at first. After all, she had had many unhappy things in the Tang family. However, thinking of the special situation of Qian Yuman and the Tang family, she had no choice but to visit her relatives accompanied by Murongye, who had recovered her health. At the same time, there were 2 more followers behind him, who had to follow me. During this period, the Tang family closed its doors to thank guests, and everyone else refused to come. Qian Yuman finally regained some vitality when she saw that Qi Lili, Murongye, Wang Tianyu and Anyil were living a boring and sad pregnancy care life. "Sister, you are really here. Why have you become so haggard?" Wang Tianyu frowned displeasedly when he saw Qian Yuman's haggard face. Qian Yuman worked hard to eat, drink and sleep during this period, but the disappearance of her son has been bothering her. My appetite is worse than usual, I often vomit what I eat, and I wake up from my dreams. After a few days, I became more and more haggard day by day. This is not the little kid in the belly who is causing trouble. He is not obedient at all. Jianyuman sighed helplessly and touched her belly with her little hand. This guy is nothing like his elder brother and sister. He was stronger when he was in mommy's arms. Now in his belly, he is torturing me. Sister, I know you are still sad, but you still have to take care of your health and not lose weight anymore. Chi Lilia looked at Jianyuman's belly with envy. She also wanted to have a baby, but her last miscarriage almost caused her to be infertile. Although Mirongye worked hard during this period, her stomach didn't respond at all. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 1550. Chapter 1550. The relationship between brothers gets better. 1. Jianyuman gently held her sister's hand and clearly understood what her sister was thinking at this moment. Her children were born one by one, and her third son was about to be born. However, as a twin sister, she did not have any children, so she must be a little disappointed. Enyil came over with a smile and raised his eyebrows at Jianyuman. Little fairy, I want to touch your belly and convey your happiness to me, so that I can have a bad child and haunt brother Tianyu for the rest of my life. Enyil stretched out his hand to rub Jianyuman's belly in a ghostly manner, making everyone laugh out loud. Who doesn't know now that Jianyuman made a plan to let Enyil sleep with Wang Tianyu? Wang Tianyu came back a few days ago and wanted to settle a score with Jianyuman, but a cowardly matchmaker had been avoiding him. Finally they met for the first time after the incident. Many changes occurred in the Tang family. Jianyuman was also pregnant. However, Wang Tianyu couldn't even try to settle accounts with her. Enyil's words simply poked Wang Tianyu's spine, and his expression instantly became ugly. Enyil, don't tell me that you didn't take any medicine after that night. Enyil nodded wildly happily. Why do you want me to take medicine when you don't wear a condom? Enyil refused to take it. How could he be so domineering? Taking medicine would harm the body. You. Wang Tianyu almost spat out a mouthful of old blood. He didn't even think about the subsequent slowdown. Enyil chuckled and rubbed his belly. Maybe there's a little Tianyu in my belly. Wang Tianyu's expression suddenly froze, and he looked at Jianyuman nervously, and saw that she was smiling equally happily, looking at Enyil's belly, and nodded with satisfaction. Ah! It's going to him off. Come out. Wang Tianyu grabbed Enyil's clothes by the collar and pulled her out of the room. Enyil struggled with his hands and kept shouting. Brother Tianyu, be careful, don't scare the baby in your belly. Baby, sir. It's been less than a week since we had sex, and even if we have sex, it's still smaller than a soybean. Bah! It's impossible. Wang Tianyu pulled Enyil out of the room with some annoyance. Watching Wang Tianyu and Enyil playing and having fun pushed the atmosphere in a pleasant direction. Sister, you should take care of yourself at home during this period. I've also helped investigate the Tang family's affairs at night. I believe it will be resolved soon. Jianyuman smiled and nodded. I believe you. Now she has no other choice but to trust them, and she is raised by everyone like a useless person. She only needs to take care of the baby in her belly and does not need to do anything else. We speculate that little Mickey is no longer in the country, otherwise there would be no clues at all. Mirongye said from the side. Overseas, isn't it harder to find? The country is so big and it's so difficult to find. If it were abroad, wouldn't it be even harder to find? Jianyuman's eyes couldn't help but turn red again. Chi Lili glared at Mirongye in displeasure. It was hard to say anything, but she brought up the matter of little Mickey, which made her sister sad. In the end, Chi Lili kicked Mirongye out and had a sweet talk with her sister alone. Murongye sighed after being driven away. His wife went to accompany his sister, so he could only go to Tanyuj. From a distance, I saw Tanyuj and Wang Tianyu standing together, not knowing what to say. God bless you, thank you for helping me this time. Tanyuj expressed his heartfelt thanks. End of this chapter.